Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the University of Houston, Victoria. And let's give a rousing Victoria Jaguar UHV welcome to these special guests, including the Governor of the State of Texas. Strategy standing up here means we're not going to speak long, but relax a little bit. Make yourself at home. You've come to UHV at a time of sustained growth and development. We've got record enrollment, record fundraising thanks to the generosity of this community and people like yourselves. We've had record research from our faculty, and we even started a baseball team 2 years ago. And in their second year of play, they both got invited to postseason tournaments, and we produced 4 All-Americans. UHV is on the move, and with downward expansion, it's only going to get better. And we appreciate our legislative leadership and the support of the governor in terms of downward expansion. None of this could have happened without the partnerships that are so evident in this room today. And at the risk of leaving someone out, I have to mention a few, including, of course, our Board of Regents, who's been supported from the beginning, our neighbors at Victoria College, and I saw Tom Butler here earlier, VISD, Bob Morris here, our city leaders, Will Armstrong, and the City Council, our county officials like our judge, John Posey, the Chamber of Commerce, Randy Vivian and his crew, VEDC, Dale Fowler and that group, the Port Authority, the Regional Advisory Council, the Staff Council, and even the Faculty Senate. Now that is unusual. But the most important group that I want to recognize today is the group that helped study this whole process last September. Good citizens came together and they recommended that we pursue downward expansion. That was the Commission on Expanding Higher Education Access. And they even stepped up to the challenge of raising $200,000 in scholarships in 1 week. 1 week. More is on the way, by the way. So that's not the end of the story. That's the beginning of the story. And you'll be hearing from Janie Lack or some other good citizen pretty soon. I also want to recognize the reason that we exist and why we do this, and that's our students. There are many students here today, including the current Student Senate President and the 2 past Student Senate Presidents. We have Eric Dorino, Dolores White, and Kristen Lindley. If you will rise. Governor, not only do we appreciate you being here today and all you've done for higher education, we appreciate that you're a wise man because you appointed Kristen Lindley as the first student regent from UHV for the UH system. So thanks to all of our partners and thanks to all of you for being here today. And it's my honor and pleasure now to introduce the Chancellor of the University of Houston System, Dr. Renu Kapoor.
Thank you, President Hudson, and welcome to University of Houston, Victoria, a jewel in the crown of University of Houston system. I bring to you greetings on behalf of our Board of Regents, our 59,000 students in the system, actually 59,104 if you want to be precise, and our 8,000 faculty and staff and 220,000 alumni, the University of Houston system. We're very proud that this day is here, and this is a glorious day, not just for the University of Houston, Victoria, but also for the University of Houston system, for the city of Victoria, for the state of Texas. And I would like to recognize some people in the audience. I think President Hudson has recognized many, but I do want to make sure that our Regent Calvin Stevens was supposed to be here. Did he make it? No, okay. We do have our former Regent. I know Kay Walker is here. Could you please stand? Is there any other former Regent here? Because we have had several. Okay, right there. We appreciate you very much. much because it's on your shoulder that we stand today. I also like to make sure that I recognize the people and the leaders of Victoria, because it was a few months ago that we were asking questions and getting answers and asking more questions right here in this hall. And we all dreamt of this day, but we just simply did not know when this will come. And we have to be very, very thankful of the leadership in Austin, our state representative Geanie Morrison and state senator Glenn Hegar, both of them. Of course, one person had the last word, whose pen with one stroke on June 19th made a dream into a reality. And it is my honor and privilege to introduce that person to you, very special person. Now, Governor Perry is known as the 47th governor of the state of Texas. He is also known that during his 8.5 years, he has truly transformed the state in many, many areas. In higher education, he has been real, serious commitment in this area and education in general. In healthcare, in fiscal responsibility, in economic development, and we know about the ETF fund, and we have benefited there at the University of Houston. We very much appreciate that. His leadership also in recognizing the importance of cancer research, and something you may not think about it, but I know he should be known for, and that is for his love for the University of Houston system. He has given 2 visits to our 2 campuses in 7 months. Mr. Governor, I have 2 more campuses and 5 more months for you to come our way. And I would like to formally invite you to the big game coming up on September 26th against Texas Tech. Now, on a personal note, I want you to know that it was my day of the appointment, not even the start of my job. The day I was appointed Chancellor of the University of Houston, I had the opportunity to go to Austin. And on that very first day, my very first meeting in this state of Texas was with Governor Perry, along with other presidents. And I was really wowed. I said, wow, here is a governor who understands higher education, because we all sat there, talked about research, commercialization, translational research, as well as how is it that research can impact the society. So I have been a big admirer of him from day one. And my admiration keeps growing, and it really doubled the day I met his wiser and better half, Anita Perry. So it is with great institutional gratitude and great personal gratitude that I give to you a person who has an absolutely unparalleled determination, an unwavering commitment, an incredible energy, a person who is a student of history, and that is why he's a proud Texan. Please welcome the 47th governor of the state of Texas, Governor Rick Perry.
Glenn, it's an honor to be with you and Geanie. We had a fabulous session of the legislature. You all are really blessed to have these 2 working for you. We were in lots of foxholes together, and they are amazingly capable individuals who represent you very well. So join with me one more time in saying thank you. It's really interesting, Tim. The University of Houston Victoria never did buy into that old adage of, kind of starting at the bottom and working your way up. You all started this down here at the top and said, okay, let's go from here. And that's the attitude. It's a great attitude to have. And the wheels are turning now, and round the clock, if you will. We're seeing freshman students and sophomore students showing up, and this school is going to continue to to grow, and I would suggest in a decade when we look back, this institution in this city is going to be on a march to greatness. Now, since, you know, I was kind of confused. I was thinking about this, about what are you going to call your freshmen? You know, over at A&M we were calling them fish, and I'm figuring about the Jaguars got to be a Cub, I guess. So as your Cubs get, you know, rolling in here and getting started, I'll let y'all figure that one out. But this is a remarkable school, and it's got a remarkable relationship with Victoria College. And given the running start, if you will, that we have here, and the strong support from this community, I mean, this is a reflection of the support of the community in this room. I know it's anecdotal, but it is a powerful message for those of us in Austin as we look in. We make decisions about, you know, where are we going to prioritize our expenditures, and this piece of legislation and the expansion of the school, I don't think could have come at a better time. I don't think it could have come at a better place. And this community's show of support for that is very important. It's clear that the folks of Victoria understand the strong impact that education has on our economy. The impact it has on this community, the impact that it has on the lives of these young men and women who have chosen to come here, and the way that they're going to impact the future of this state. You know, studies tell us that post-high school education is required for this new economy that we're going into. When you look at the world that we compete in today, and being able to have that key of a degree from an institution of higher learning, it is imperative that we make it available and affordable and accessible to the next generation of Texans that are going to take over, and the students that are graduating from here. They're not just going to be competing with the folks over in Houston or the folks in College Station. I mean, they're going to be competing around the world. I was sharing with the Chancellor in a meeting that I had last week with the Asian American Chamber of Commerce, and that community is so powerful across the state. We were talking about our ability to compete in the world, and Texas' reputation every day is moving up from the standpoint of places where people want to live, and they want to raise their family, because they know that we are committed to not only an economy but also that skilled workforce that has to be in your community if it's going to be the place where you come to invest your capital. Companies that are deciding today, where do we want to live? As America goes through some pretty tough economic times, there are men and women sitting around boardrooms today making decisions about where do we want to be located in the future. And these two members of the legislature have been part of a team that have created an economy that is the envy of the world. You pick, I mean, of all places, the New York Times, day before yesterday, was talking about that Texas is a place that other states ought to look at about how to put their economies in order to be competitive in this new world economy that we're competing for. And I tell people, it's no surprise, and it didn't happen by accident, that Texas is the home to more Fortune 500 companies than any other state in the nation. We're the #1 exporting state. We created more jobs in 2008 in this state than the other 49 states combined. I mean, that's the way it ought to be. And that ought to be our goal. And just this last week, I was in the outskirts of Houston announcing Farouk Systems that we're bringing 1,500 jobs into that facility. And they're bringing those jobs from Asia, which is really interesting. You know, for years we heard, oh, jobs are going offshore, we're losing jobs. And now, because we've created this great environment in the state of people, we're actually luring jobs back into the state of Texas that have been offshore for a while. Caterpillar, one of the great names of the industrial world, announced back early last year that they were going to consolidate, and all of the engines manufactured with the Caterpillar name on it's going to be in Texas. It's Seguin, Texas. Medtronics, it's a medical technology company. They develop an artificial pancreas. They're moving out of the Bay Area in San Antonio, or the Bay Area of San Francisco into San Antonio. 1,400 jobs in very high tech and high paying jobs, and you know, all of that goes to why we're here today. And we're so pleased to be here and to know that the University of Texas in Victoria is going to continue to graduate young. Well, don't ever get confused that I am ecumenical. For an Aggie to say that is the University of Houston in Victoria.
Thank you, Governor, so much, and thank each and every one of you that are here today, because each and every one of you are what really made this happen. Amazingly, when I started looking back, we find ourselves in the same position that happened back in the 1960s. If you'll remember what happened during that time, those of you that can remember that far back, I know there's a lot that don't remember that far back, but those of us that do. Back then, there was a local group of citizens that did pretty much the same thing that has happened here in this last few years. They recognized that there was a need for an upper level institution of higher education to be in this area because there was not that access for about a 100-mile radius. And so they were looking to have a place to be able to finish baccalaureate degrees and master's degrees within this region. And as a result of the hard work of those citizens, the University of Houston Victoria Center was established. And in 1973, students began to enter the new center to continue their education. There were about 100 that started during that time. And so 10 years later, with the enactment of Senate Bill 235, the center became the University of Houston Victoria, an upper-level institution that would provide increased access to higher education. Last summer, just as in the 1960s, a committee of interested citizens was formed to study the need for the University of Houston Victoria to be able to offer lower division classes. As a result of that committee's hard work and working with Senator Hegar and myself, House Bill 1056 was enacted in the 81st legislative session. I want to thank all of the members of that committee that worked so tirelessly and all the citizens for their support in those efforts to make today a reality, because it was all of you that turned out for all of those hearings that were held here that showed everyone what the true backing of this community was for this effort. And I also want to thank Senator Hegar for the tremendous work that he did in the Texas Senate to make sure that this bill got to the governor's desk. You have to work on both sides of the legislature. You have to have it in the House and the Senate and get it to the governor's desk. And thank you so much, Glenn. Finally, I want to thank Governor Perry for signing House Bill 1056 into law and for coming here today for this ceremonial signing. It shows his understanding of just how important this legislation is, not only to our community, but also to the state for the continuing effort to close the gaps of education. I want to thank each and every one of you for all of your support and everything that you've done. And Janie Lack will be coming around and passing the hat soon, I'm sure, scholarship money. No one says no to you, Janie, we know that. So we will be continuing on to work for scholarship money for these new students that are getting ready to start in the year. I want to thank each and every one of you, and most importantly of all, Governor, thank you for being here. Thank you for seeing what this has meant to our community, and it's just the beginning of wonderful things to come. Thank you all so very much.
Geanie, thank you very much. Again, we're really blessed to have these two individuals who are sacrifice time away from family and businesses to do your work in Austin, Texas. one of those individuals who, I don't know how he gets done everything he gets done. As the chairman of the sunset process in the Senate, overseeing the decision-making process over double handfuls of agencies, but he does. And a man who practices just enough law to be able to fund his farming habit, your Senator Glenn Hegar.
Thank you, Governor. Yeah, actually, that's correct. I always kind of make a joke during my speeches that my wife supports my bad habits, and people wonder what those are, and I tell them it's two things. It's farming and serving in the legislature. Neither of which pay very well. But I will tell you, in the 8 years that I've served in the Texas legislature, 4 in the House and 4 in the Senate now almost, I'm coming up on 4 in the Senate and 4 legislative sessions, you know, all the communities I represent, this is truly an amazing process with the signing of this legislation and how this legislation is coming to be. Because of all of the communities in the 19 counties I represent, I have never been part of an experience where you had a community-wide process that united in such a manner as this. Truly amazing. And I just want to say, really, I could echo what everybody said, name a bunch of individuals, but you know, the greatest thing of individuals you have to name is all the community. Not just the community here in Victoria County, but the greater surrounding communities, and I see a lot of people from many of the communities in this greater area. Victoria is, as I described, kind of an island of its own. Well, the reason being is because it's several hours from all the other major cities that surrounds it. And so this area has the opportunity to give education, growth, and development to so many kids upcoming in the near future that is unbelievable. As I travel around the district, it's amazing how many students go to other areas to get their lower education and other degrees because they didn't have choices, as many choices as they needed. Victoria College does a great job, as of UH Victoria has done a great job, and now they'll have even more opportunities. And I just really want to say, number one, thank you for letting me be part of that. As Representative Morris mentioned, yes, sometimes it is difficult to get even such a community-wide support piece of legislation through all of the hurdles of a legislative process. I remember I was sitting in a committee hearing, and it was towards the waning days of session. We had to get the legislation. It just had one more hurdle before it would get to the governor's desk. It had to be set on the Senate floor. And all of a sudden, I got a text message from my staff, and they said, "You better get over here. People have questions." I don't know how many more people I could talk to. I only have 30 colleagues, and I've talked to all of them. So what have they forgotten? So I literally sprinted through the Senate. I got over there, and it wasn't just about a minute later. And my colleagues looked around and they said, "You must have spies. Because how did you know we were talking about this legislation?" I said, "Trust me, it's important to me." And so one of my colleagues, I got to mention it, and one of the things that is amazing about this is anytime there has been a downward expansion, the university always asks for money. In this case, I have to say thank you, Tim, because he made our job easier because we were not asking for money. Actually, he stole what I was going to say. Boy, you see how they start on us even during that day? And so, you know, my colleagues just said, "That's amazing. You're not asking for money." I said, "Just wait." They said, "Yes, we know what's coming." But, you know, also this whole process, it has truly been amazing. And one of the things the governor leaked out kind of a little bit earlier is that Representative Morrison, myself, and others have been thinking about, other than funding, what is the next thing we have to do? And Chancellor, I'm sorry, you know, the idea has been thought about whether it's University of Victoria rather than University of Houston at Victoria. We'll have that discussion
Glenn was doing so good. Everybody all together. No, it is good, and it is a good day. So with that, would you three come up and join us as we ceremonially sign this? I think it's only appropriate that the three of you would be standing up here with us. Oh, look right here at these guys. Jeanie May? Appreciate you. You're dismissed. Oh, yeah.
Please stay and join.